Good morning, everyone at Tushita and online. Thank you for joining us. So we'll be doing a half an hour meditation. We will start with some single pointed meditation, also called calm abiding or shamatha. I will repeat the instructions. We have some new persons here at Tushita today. So first, the most important thing we look at is the posture, how we sit. And there are 7 points to pay attention to, but the most important, if you were to pay only attention to one, is to have the back straight, to stay alert during the meditation. Then the legs. Ideally, we would be sitting in full lotus posture, but that might be a bit difficult the first time. So what you can do is a half lotus, but that might be difficult as well. So cross-legged is perfectly fine, or as comfortable as you want to be. Don't feel pain in your legs. And you can sit on the floor, that's ideal. If it's too difficult, you can always sit on a chair. Usually the hands, we put them in the what we call the mudra of meditation. So basically you have your left hand and your right hand is sitting on top, and the two thumbs are slightly touching each other, and then this rests on the lap. And the shoulders are slightly pulled back, relaxed. The idea is to open the heart, open the torso. And the neck aligned with the spine in its natural position, and the chin slightly back forward, not too much, slightly. In order to reduce the production of saliva, one tip of the ancient masters is to put the tip of the tongue towards the upper palate behind the teeth, behind the upper teeth. This will reduce a little bit production of saliva. And finally, this might surprise you, it is recommended to meditate with eyes not closed, but not completely open, like actively looking at something, just resting your gaze a little bit downward, as your chin is a little bit downward, just 1 or 2 meters, maybe 2 meters in front of you. And actually it is your mental consciousness, your mind, that meditates. So you don't pay attention to what your eyes are actually apprehending. So if you can keep all these 7 points, that's perfect, but the most important is at least to keep the back straight. So don't force yourself either, just naturally straight. So for single pointed meditation, calm abiding, shamatha, the idea of this meditation is to work on our concentration, on our ability to keep an object in mind for as long as we can, which is very difficult because the mind tends to be distracted. The idea is not to have a mind with no thoughts, to have an empty mind, not at all. That's not the purpose of meditation. The purpose of meditation is really to focus on one object. And that's why we call it single-pointed meditation. So for those who are familiar with this meditation, you can choose the object you use usually. And if not, what end is that realize a small, very small, tiny drop of light between your nose and your upper lip. So in this area, you can touch it just to have a feeling about where about to place your attention. But you're not meditating on the body part as such, you're meditating on a mental object, which is this tiny drop of light. And so the goal is for, we'll try maybe 5 minutes. The goal is to keep this object in mind, like with your full focus, with your full attention. So this is the first instruction, the object of meditation, to be very clear about your object and put all your attention on it. Now the second instruction is that during this meditation, if you're not used to it, you will actually lose your object quite regularly. Your mind will be distracted. For example, you will be thinking, what am I going to have for lunch today? What did I do last night? You know, you will have all sorts of thoughts coming up. So this is what we call distraction. This is one of the two kind of errors for the meditation. And the second is lethargy, or dullness. Like your mind might sink a little bit, your mind might fall into dullness, into laxity. You might be starting to fall asleep, and so of course you will lose your object. So the third instruction is the antidotes to these two errors. So we call them introspection and mindfulness. So we will be meditating for 5 minutes, and regularly a part of your mind should be checking, am I meditating still? Am I still concentrated on my object, the tiny dot, or the tiny drop of light between my nose and my upper lip, or another object you're familiar with? Am I still focusing on that, or has my mind wandered? Am I thinking about something else, or am I falling asleep? So it's very important to pay attention. Am I meditating? Am I still on my object? And then the second antidote is mindfulness. So as soon as you notice that your mind is not on the object anymore, it's very important to make the effort to bring the mind back to the object. If you don't, then for 5 minutes your mind will be distracted. And sometimes we notice that we are not meditating and we continue being distracted instead of coming back. It's very important to take the habit to come back as soon as we notice that we lost the object. So we'll try this for about 5 minutes. So remember the posture, the object of meditation, the two errors of meditation, distraction and laxity, and the two antidotes, introspection and mindfulness. So we will try this for 5 minutes. gently come out of the meditation. So in the beginning it is good to keep these meditations short, like today we did about 5-6 minutes, and to do it regularly if possible every day or twice a day, like morning, evening, because then you will, when you finish, you will not feel that you're exhausted, that it was very long, you know, and the idea is that you will want to do it again. If you start by doing half an hour or 1 hour, you might feel exhausted, and the next day when you see the cushion, you will feel like, oh no. So yeah. And anyway, if you can keep your object for 5 minutes, that's more amazing than amazing. You're a great meditator if you can keep your object for 5 minutes without distraction. So the next thing we will do today, I will guide a meditation on Bodhicitta. So Bodhicitta, Bodhi in Sanskrit means awakening or enlightenment, and Chitta means mind. So basically Bodhicitta is the mind of enlightenment. Bodhicitta is the main cause for bodhicitta is what we call compassion, Ningje in Tibetan. So I will be guiding a meditation on that. On Wednesday we did a bodhicitta meditation based on the sevenfold cause and we'll use the other method. The Buddha was so kind to us to teach these two methods. The first one, not everybody is very comfortable with it because it involves thinking about the kindness of the mother, and for Westerners it might be challenging because it's entirely based on the concept of reincarnation. So if this is difficult for you, then this method, you might feel much more comfortable, the method we are going to do today, which is more based on logic and reasoning. So this method is called equalizing and exchanging self with others. Different teachers teach it differently in different steps. The way I'm going to guide it today is with 9 steps. This is the way my teacher Geshe Damdul presents it, which makes it very exhaustive. So the first step is, as the name suggests, to equalize oneself with others. So what this means is that, you know, there are countless beings. Even on this planet you can see there are nearly 8 billion human beings. There are countless animals, countless mammals, countless insects, countless birds. And only one person, only one being. Yet we put all our attention to that one person. Our focus is our happiness. We always have this kind of feeling that I am more important than others. But if we think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We are one, others are numberless. So the idea is to consider the happiness of others as well. All other sentient beings, just like me, want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. So therefore, try to generate a sense of equality there. Feel that the happiness of others is as important as your own. Then the second step is to reflect on the disadvantages of cherishing oneself. You know what we call self-cherishing. You can see in your daily experience when we are so focused on ourselves only, then our mind becomes so narrow. Sometimes we can even feel a bit tight in the chest. We might become angry at others because our happiness is more important than others. We want this, we want that, so we might start hurting others, fighting with others, lying to others in order to get what we want. And the Buddha teaches us that all these negative actions, lying, stealing, killing, harsh words, all these create what we call negative karma. Karma is the law of cause and effect. So every time we create a negative cause, for example, lying to someone, in the future at some point we will experience the results of this action. For example, other people will lie to us, or other people will not trust us, not believe us. So the Buddha teaches us that since beginningless time, we had countless past lives, we have engaged in those negative actions because of self-cherishing. Because of that, we have created a lot of negative karma, and sometimes we experience the results. We experience pain, people deceive us, people steal from us. At present, we are not suffering that much. We are very fortunate to have a human body. But if you consider rebirth, reincarnation, countless times we have been, for example, animals, constantly living in fear of being eaten by other animals, and so forth. On the other hand, the next step is to reflect on the advantages of cherishing others. When we consider the happiness of other beings, we can see it in our daily experience. The heart opens, the chest opens. We feel more joy. Immediately the mind is more vast, uplifted. will help others, those in need, when we protect life, for example, saving animals, when we are honest, then we are practicing virtue and we are actually creating positive karma. The fact that today we have this human body, we have a home, we have food, we might have some money on our bank account. We are incredibly fortunate, and this is the result of positive actions we have done in the past. The next two steps is what we call in Tibetan Tonglen, which means Tong means giving and Len means taking. So basically what we are doing is that we are visualizing that we are taking the suffering of other beings upon ourselves because of compassion. We don't want others to suffer. So we visualize that we take their suffering away from them. And the next step will be based on love. We want others to be happy. So we visualize that we give them all the happiness that they want. So to do that, the first step, taking the suffering with emphasis on compassion, we can think that because of self-cherishing and delusions, ignorance, anger, because of these, sentient beings are continuously accumulating negative karma, continuously creating the causes for suffering, and continuously experiencing the results of these causes. They are constantly experiencing suffering. So you can visualize as many sentient beings you can around you. You can visualize thousands of them, countless of them, all around you. And visualize that in the form of maybe black smoke, you are taking this suffering from them so that they become free from suffering. And this black smoke, you can offer it to the self-cherishing at your heart. You can visualize it in the form of like a rock. And all this smoke, you offer it to this rock. It's absorbed into the rock. I don't want others to suffer, so I'm taking all their suffering from them. And I offer it to my self-cherishing mind. And you can visualize that this rock at your heart cannot take it because it's the total opposite of what self-cherishing wants. You're visualizing that you're helping others. Your self-cherishing mind doesn't want that. So you can visualize that this big rock at your heart explodes in countless particles. And now your heart becomes pure love, only wishing to help others, only wishing for others to be happy, to experience happiness and the causes of happiness. So to do that, you can visualize that from your pure heart, rays of white light are now sent in all directions to all these countless beings around you, granting them everything they wish for, all the mundane happiness that they want, as well as the causes for happiness, compassion, love, wisdom, all these things we are giving to them in a form of rays of white light, wishing them to be happy. Then the next step is the actual exchange of oneself with others. So this is basically reasoning that since cherishing myself brings about suffering, since cherishing others brings about happiness, today I'm taking the decision that from now on, instead of thinking about my happiness, I will think about the happiness of others. From now on, instead of cherishing myself, I will cherish others. The ancient masters used to say, use the spear of ego to destroy ego. Meaning that if you want to be happy, help others. By helping others, I'm also, by the way, helping myself. Then the next step is to remember the kindness of sentient beings. You can think that absolutely everything you have, everything you own, everything you possess is due to the kindness of others. You can think for those of us who came in person to Tushita this morning, you can think of, for example, that led you here. How people were involved in building that road. And intense heat for us to and the fact that we have clear water to drink. How many people have been involved? The clothes we are wearing, the cotton that was planted, harvested, transported, transformed, displayed, sold for us to buy. The food on our plate. And everything we know from the languages we speak, they were taught to us by others. All the knowledge that we have received from our parents, near and dear ones, school, college, and so forth. Others have been so kind to us in countless ways. A very simple example. A pen. Can you imagine the kindness of others involved for you to have a pen to be able to write? It is due to the amount of people that are using pens, that pens are actually affordable because they are being mass produced. Otherwise, can you imagine the price of a single pen if only one was produced? Now it has become so cheap for us to be able to buy it because so many people are there using pens. So the idea is to think in countless ways how others have been so kind to us. Everything we know, everything we have is due to the kindness of others. And therefore, we want to repay this kindness. We want to free them from their suffering. We want them to become happy. We wish them, we have compassion on them. And today we have this precious human life. We are so fortunate we have met the teachings of the Buddha. The teachings that this awakened being gave 2,600 years ago for so many years, and that so many masters have preserved and transmitted from generation to generation. And these teachings are still very much alive today. We have His Holiness the Dalai Lama tirelessly, constantly helping others, giving teachings despite his old age. So therefore I have all these freedoms, all these opportunities. I must take responsibility. This is the next step. We call it altruism, the altruistic attention. I must take responsibility myself to help others to be happy. Today I'm deciding that I myself will help others to be free from suffering and to be happy. I'm taking responsibility. But how can I do that? I myself am deluded. I'm constantly running after short-term pleasures, creating negative karma. So how can I help others if I myself am not free from the prison of my mind, these afflictions, these delusions, constantly creating negative karma? How can I help others? So I need to get rid of all these afflictions, all these negative emotions, disturbing emotions. I must get rid of all these afflictive obscurations that make me suffer. And then I also need to know how to help others. So I need to get rid of all mental blockages, all cognitive obscurations, obscurations to knowledge, obscurations to omniscience. And in the history of humanity, we can think of one person who achieved this. We can think of Prince Siddhartha, 2,600 years ago, who saw the suffering of others and meditated for many years until he found the middle way, until he found the nature of reality, moved by his great compassion, moved by his great wish to help others. He got rid of all afflictive obscurations and all cognitive obscurations and became the Buddha Shakyamuni. Perfect love, perfect knowledge, perfect power to help others. So therefore, in order to help others, today I'm generating Bodhicitta. I'm giving rise to this mind of enlightenment, this mind of awakening, this aspiration to help others. So we can together say 3 times, make this strong wish. I become a Buddha, benefit of all here sentient beings. May become a Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become a Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. So gently come out of the meditation. And thank you very much for joining us this morning. And I will see you on Monday, same time, 9 a.m. And from next week, we will start meditating on the whole graduated path to enlightenment, the Lamrim in Tibetan. So every week we will take a different topic. So I'll see you on Monday. Have a nice day, have a nice weekend. Thank you very much.